Good morning, good morning. It is the second day of the week, also known as Monday, and welcome to the early dew. I am the messenger, and the message that I've been sent to share is relationship, relationship with the Most High. And one of our foundation scriptures, because it has changed a few times on the course of our show here, or the journey that we've been going on for this season. It is if my people, Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. That's Second Chronicles chapter 7, verse 14. And it reads, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways. That's pretty clear on what we're supposed to do. He says very clearly what he's going to do. He says, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. We're reading Numbers chapter 16. That's our portion of seeking his face through his word, his written word. Numbers chapter 16, verse 1. Now Korah, son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, with Dathan and Abram, son of Elab, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain of the Israelites, 250 princes or leaders of the congregation, called to the assembly, men well known and of distinction. And they gathered together against Moses and Aaron. Against Moses and Aaron, and said to them, enough of you. You take too much upon yourselves, seeing that all the congregation is holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Why then do you lift yourselves up above the assembly of the Lord? And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face. And he said to Korah and all his company, in the morning the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near to him whom he has chosen, and he will cause him to come near to him. Verse 6, do this, take censers, Korah and your company, and put fire in them, and put incense upon them before the Lord tomorrow. And the men whom the Lord chooses shall be holy. You take too much upon yourselves, you sons of Levi. And Moses said to Korah, hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi, does it seem but a small thing to you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, and to stand before the congregation to minister to them, and that he has brought you near to him and all your brethren, the sons of Levi, with you? Would you seek the priesthood also? Therefore, you and all your company are gathered together against the Lord and Aaron. What is it? What is he that you murmur against him? He's asking, why do you murmur against Aaron as well? Verse 12. And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abram, the sons of Elab, and they said, we will not come up. It is a small thing that you have brought us out of the land, brought us up out of a land flowing with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness. But you must also make yourself a prince over us. My goodness. Verse 14, moreover, you have not brought us into the land that flows with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Will you bore out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moses was very angry and said to the Lord, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I hurt one of them. And Moses said to Korah, you and your company be before the Lord tomorrow, you and they and Aaron, and let every man take his censer and put incense upon it, and bring before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, and also You also and Aaron each his censer. So they took every man his censer, and they put fire in them, and laid incense upon it. And they stood at the entrance of the tent of meeting with Moses and Aaron. Then Korah assembled all the congregation against Moses and Aaron before the entrance of the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord appeared to all the congregation. And the Lord said to Moses and Aaron, separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and will you be angry with all the congregation? It's a very good question. And the Lord said to Moses, say to the congregation, get away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abram. Then Moses rose up and went to Dathan and Abram, and the elders of Israel, and the elders of Israel that followed him, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he said to the congregation, depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they got away from around the tent of Korah, Dathan and Abram, and Dathan and Abram came out and stood in the door of their tents with their wives and their sons and their little ones. Moses said, by this you shall know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I do not act of my own accord. Me and Moses on the same page with that. I do not act of my own accord. That's verse 28. Verse 29. If these men die the common death of all men, or if only what happens to everyone happens to them, then the Lord has not sent me. But if the Lord causes a new thing to happen, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive to Sheol, the place of dead, then you shall understand that these men have provoked, spurned, despised the Lord. As soon as he stopped talking, the ground under the offenders split apart, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their household, and Korah and all his men and all their possessions. They and all that belonged to them went down alive to Sheol, the place of the dead, and the earth closed up upon them, and they perished from among the assembly. And all Israel who were round about them fled at their cry, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up also. And fire came forth from the Lord and devoured 250 men who offered incense. And the Lord said to Moses, speak to Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning and scatter the fire at the distance, for the censers are hollowed. And the censers of these men who have sinned against themselves and at the cost of their own lives, let the censers be made into hammered plates for the covering of the altar, for the burnt offering. For they were used in offering before the Lord, and therefore they are sacred. They shall be a sign of warning to the Israelites. And Eleazar the priest took the bronze censers, with which the Levites who were burned had offered incense, and they were hammered into broad sheets for covering of the brazen altar of burnt offering, to be a memorial, a warning forever to the Israelites, so that no outsider, that is, no one not of the descendants of Aaron, should come near to offer incense before the Lord, lest he become as Korah and his company. And the Lord said to Eleazar through Moses, as the Lord said to Eleazar through Moses. But on the morrow, all the congregation of the Israelites murmured against Moses and Aaron, saying, you have killed these people. When the congregation was gathered against Moses and Aaron, they looked at the tent of meeting, and behold, the cloud covered it, and they saw the Lord's glory. And Moses and Aaron came to the front of the tent of meeting, and the Lord said to Moses, get away from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And Moses and Aaron fell on their faces. And Moses said to Aaron, take a censer and put fire in it from off the altar, and lay incense on it, and carry it quickly to the congregation, and make atonement for them. He's standing in the gap for them. He's praying for them. For there, this is verse 46, for there is wrath going out from the Lord. The plague has begun. So Aaron took the burning censer as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the congregation. And behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on the incense and made atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed, or it stopped. Now those who died in the plague were 14,700, besides those who died in the matter of Korah. And Aaron returned to Moses to the door of the tent of meeting, since the plague was stayed, or it stopped. Have mercy, people. The number one thing I got out of that is that, and it's amazing how many times Moses and Aaron tried to stop the consequences of the people talking against them. They prayed for them multiple times, even though people were just hell bent on trying to take their places or murmuring and complaining, trying to say that the Lord is not with them. Listen, I pray for you guys, and I'm not saying anybody's doing that to me or anybody or any other leadership or anything, but prayer works. And I hope nobody is out here, saying anything about any person who calls himself a pastor or a leader or anything of that nature, because it's not a good thing to do, as we can see. Don't do that. But prayer works is what I got out of that. And so I'm constantly praying that we hear and understand that the glory of the Most High is real. If he said he's going to do it, he's going to do it. He said he's going to take them to a land of flowing with milk and honey. And he did it. But as we learned before, they didn't believe it, so they didn't get to go in. So they don't get to complain, but they need to understand God is real. And I hope you understand he's real. Talk to him, pray to him, seek his face. Don't complain. It don't get you in a good spot at all. Trust me. Look at what happened to them. The whole earth opened up. So that is my time. I love you. I say it and I mean it. I really do. But more importantly, he loves you. And he's asked you to have a relationship with him. So go ahead and pray. Peace.